In this video, I'm going to be teaching how to cut and sew this trendy kimono jacket with two different fabrics. So let's get started. So I'm using this fabric. It's called Mr. Bill's in Ghana. I don't know how it's called in other places, but it's a bit stretchy. And then I'm using a Ghanaian smock for the patches in the dress. So let's get started. I'm going to be using this fabric. Like I said, I'm using the full length of the fabric, that is from one selvage to the other. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to measure the length and then show you the full length, which is 54.5 inches. That is the full length. And then the width I'm using, the width actually depends on your body size, which I'll be explaining later, but then I have 32.5 inches for the width. Next, I'm going to be folding it into two and then into two again. So after getting this, we are going to fold it into two again. That means we are going to be cutting both front and back at once, or cut them together. So fold it like this. I'll remeasure the length after folding to let you know. So I have about 27 inches for the length. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to put in my hip measurement. So you're going to divide your hip by 4, and I have 10.5 over here. So after the 10.5, you can add about from 4 inches to about 8, 9, 10 inches, depending on how big you want it to be. So I'm going to be adding 6 inches to mine. That is the length of my fabric. So I maintain the 6 inches. So your hip by 4 plus 6 inches. You can decide to slant the shoulder if you want to. If you don't want to, you can go by my way. So for the neck depth, I'm going to be marking 1.5 for the back, 1.5 inches for the back, and then the neck width, I'm going to be marking 2.5 inches. So from 2.5 inches to 3 inches, you can decide to use which one you want depending on the size of your neck. So I'm using 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And then from the upper part, I came down by 10 inches. That is from my shoulder to my bust measurement. After that, at the lower part, go in by half an inch, and on that 10 inches line, the bust line, go in by half an inch as well. After that, I'm going to be connecting from that shoulder line to the bust line, and then from the bust line to the length or the hem of my jacket. And note, we are doing this for only the front. We are only cutting through the front. The back is on fold. So the back is that neckline I made earlier. So this neckline is for the back, the one I'm cutting now, and then the front is for this one. I hope you understand what I'm saying. The front is the one with a slanted neckline, and then the back is on fold, even though we are cutting both at once. So when I'm done cutting, let me show you what I have. So this is what I have after cutting. We're going to be getting a shape like this, and that is our side of the jacket, and the center back, and then the center front is opened. So after cutting out, this is how it looks like. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to measure the length of the front opening. So I'm going to start from the lower part through to the neckline, and then to the other side of the jacket. So you can measure about 2 or 3 times to be sure of your measurements before you cut out your smock or whatever fabric you want to use. So this is my smock. The width is about 4.75 inches. I'm going to fold it into two like this and press it. Pressing makes working easier, so kindly press it before you use it on your jacket. So after pressing, I'm going to be folding it into two just like this to get the midpoint, and then I'm going to be joining the pieces together as well to get the midpoint of the neck. So join the front pieces together just like I'm doing and make a notch at the center. I'm using a pin to indicate the center. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to put my smock on top of it. So with right side facing each other, you know the smock, you are working on the right side, and then the jacket itself, we are working on the right side as well. So go ahead and then pin it straight down to the hem at one side and repeat the same thing on the other side. After that, take it to your machine and stitch. After stitching, this is what I have. I went ahead to finish the edges by neatening it. This is what I have now. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to work on the side and then the hem. So after everything, the smock was a bit longer, so I'll go ahead and trim off the excess before working on the other parts. So this is the smock I'm going to be using for the lower part. The width is about 4.75. That is what I'm going to be using for the lower part or the hem of my jacket, and then I'll be using that same size for the side as well. So I'm going to be working on the side before I work on the bottom or the lower part. So just measure the side, and then whatever you have, cut out your smock and then add it to it. So after cutting my smock fabric the same size of the side, I'm going to be picking the middle part and then join it to the middle part of the shoulder. Or you can start by pinning from the lower part through to the other side. Whichever way works for you, go ahead and pin it that way. So after working on the side, I'll go ahead and start pinning the other side as well before taking it to my machine and stitching. So take your time and pin, because I'm using two different types of fabric. With mine, one is stretchy and then the other isn't. So you take your time when you are using different fabrics, so everything will go well. So if you don't want it very big, after getting your hip measurement, you can just add the smock from that side and then get a smaller version of the jacket. But if you want it this big, you go ahead and use the exact measurements. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to add my smock fabric to the lower part of my jacket. That is the back and then the front as well. So I'm using the same size for the side and then for the lower part. So take notes of that. For the front part, before you stitch, make sure you fold the raw edge in and then stitch it down before you pin it to the lower part, so that you don't have your raw edge showing at the front or the right side of your smock. So I went ahead to stitch my smock on the side and then the lower part, and then I'm going to be folding 1 inch in at the lower part for the front and then back, and then I'll be folding 1 inch on the side as well and then stitch. After stitching, this is the outcome of my kimono jacket. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to work on the side of the jacket. So I'm going to be coming down by about 11 inches, but from 10 inches to about 14 inches or 15 inches. You can mark that down for your armhole depending on how big your arm is. If you don't really have a big arm, from 10 to about 12 inches is okay for you. But if your arm is a little bigger, you can go for from 13 to 15 inches. So that is it. So I'm going to be marking my 11 inches down at this point, and then I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side as well, 11 inches. So make sure you mark it down to the main fabric so that when you're stitching, you don't find yourself wanting. So after marking it down, next thing I'm going to be doing is to pin the sides. So I'm going to pin the sides down. You're going to pin it down to where you marked your armhole, the place for your armhole. So to my 11 inches line, that is where I'm going to be ending the pinning. Repeat the same thing on the other side. And then after pinning, you are going to be stitching exactly on this line. Stitch from that line down and repeat the step on the other side. So the width of this fabric is about 8.5 inches, and then the length is about 9.5 inches. So I'm going to be folding 1 inch down and then stitch. Fold 1 inch down and stitch for the opening of your pockets. And then after that, I'll go ahead and fold 1/2 and 1/4 in on every other side. So this is the 1 inches I stitched down, and then I'm folding 1/2 and 1/4 at the side and then the lower part, then place it on my jacket. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to mark where I'll place my pocket. But then for the side, after pinning, wherever you place your pocket, make sure it's going to work. You join it, but then you have to know which or how you want it to be. So you can join it to the small down here. So this is what I have. Take it high a bit. You can push it to the close to the center front, whatever you want it, or however you want it to look. You go ahead and then do it. So that is it. But with mine, I'm going to be using a measurement, and then from the center where the smock ends, I'm going to be marking 2.5 inches in, and then 2.5 inches in as well. And then at the lower part where the smock ends, I'm going up by 2 inches. 2 inches. So that is how I'm going to place my pocket. So after that, you make sure the pocket starts on the 2.5 inches line and then ends on the 2 inches line at the lower part. So let me redo it for you to see. Make sure the pocket is starting exactly on that 2.5 inches line and then end on the 2 inches line at the lower part of your jacket. So this is it. I keep repeating it because I want you to see exactly what I am doing. And then after that, go ahead and pin it down. Pin it down before you stitch to prevent it from moving when you are sewing. So you are going to repeat the same step on the other side, 2 inches and then 2.5 inches at that side. Place your fabric or your pocket on it like we did for the other side, and then stitch. After stitching, that will be all for the jacket. I hope you enjoyed these tutorials. Bye.